On today's question of faith, what does God want me to give up for Lent this year? Hey everybody, this is Question of Faith. I am Deacon Mike Hayes. I am the Director of Young Adult Ministry here in the Diocese of Cleveland.
Father Eric Garris, Vocation Director. Happy to be back.
Father Damien Ference on special assignment, as we like to say.
That's right, doing his Father Damien thing.
He is out in Iowa, of all places.
Yeah, so he's out at a conference. One of his heroes, Flannery O'Connor, 100th birthday, got her degree at Iowa, doing some sort of Flannery O'Connor greatest hits tour. Yeah, so good stuff.
That'll be fun for him. So drive safe, have fun.
That's right. And here we are, shroving it up on Shrove Tuesday.
Exactly, yeah. Fat Tuesday. Big Mardi Gras day.
You've got your coffee.
You a big Mardi Gras person?
Not really.
Yeah, same here.
I don't think it's part of Cleveland culture is punchki.
Sure.
And I think that's kind of everywhere. So
Eastern
you got all the spots. Do you know where it comes from? Like the background of it?
I did, but remind me.
Yeah, so they would, during the season of Lent, obviously it's a time of fasting, and so they would take like all the sweets and all the lard and all the things that they had, and they would use it all up right today.
Oh, right, because they couldn't eat butter and
correct.
All
so
those things.
Yeah. So it's basically store up for yourself calories in earth, not treasure in heaven. So that was the whole sense of like frying all this stuff, using up all the sweet fruits as you enter into the desert.
Very nice.
Yeah, but I also it's just not. It seems like a very Cajun, kind of, the Mardi Gras thing.
Have you ever been to Mardi
never,
Gras in Louisiana?
Never. Yeah,
I've been to Louisiana many times. A couple of dear friends. My friend is a priest of the New Orleans province of the Society of Jesus, so I went to his ordination.
Okay.
Any excuse for a parade, first of all.
Yeah.
If you have anything, I remember I went down and spoke at Loyola University one time, and they said, and the crowd was not large, let's say, and so they said, well, we'd like you to come back, and we'd like to try to get more people here for you. And they said, and if you could think of any excuse that we could have to throw a parade, that would be great.
Yeah. Well, they just had obviously the Super Bowl was just there.
Yeah.
What I loved, Jameis Winston, our previous quarterback, doing content, dancing around in the streets of New Orleans.
Yeah.
He's a content-making machine.
That's a great place. Shout out to the folks in New Orleans. Becky Eldridge, my friend who does Ignatian Ministries.
Okay.
She's in Louisiana. So great place to be.
Good.
Anyway, but we're here in Cleveland.
That's right, on the verge, on the precipice of Lent.
And so, what are you giving up for Lent this year? Let's say, what does God want you to give up for
that's
Lent
the big question.
Right?
Yeah, I think a lot of times we ask that question and we ask it to ourselves. It's like the Pharisee asked himself, what should I do? But really, it's a season of grace, and grace is living in relationship with the Lord and responding to the Lord's invitation. And so I think a lot of times we have an idea of like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to give up cheese. I'm going to give up these fill-in-the-blank things. But begin with the end in mind. The goal of Lent is not just to get through 40 days of exercising willpower, but the goal of Lent is transformation. So that after 40 days, it's not like, well, I can go back to eating cheese and I can go back to doing these things. But what can I do within me to let Jesus live within me more fully? Yeah. So that's my Catholic pet peeve. What are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah. What are you doing? What is God doing? What does God want to do? So to answer your question, it's still kind of TBD. I think I don't like big fasts. I've done different things different years where I've given up. I'm in my car a lot, so I gave up radio one year and used it as an opportunity to pray. One year I gave up staying up late uselessly and went to bed at 10:30 every night.
Oh wow, yeah.
But
I should do that.
Yeah, I'm looking at things like giving up iPad in bed. It's just so easy to lay there and to get lost in the scroll.
Sure.
Usually I really enjoy getting together with friends and having a nice whiskey, but I think that would put a strain on me to be that would be hard to give up. And it's not every day I'm drinking, but
sure, yeah.
Just whatever. I think to feel that rub and we oftentimes reach for these things to kind of fill that void, but I think any sense of discomfort, even if it be in our day-to-day lives, like, all right, well, I'm just going to go to bed now, like, and I'm not going to get lost in the scroll or whatever. Hopefully it's not just, it reminds us of the fact that it's Lent, but it reminds us of the fact that, like, any sacrifice we make, we believe bears fruit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and is this for you? Like, what gets in the way? Like, what gets in the way of my relationship with God?
I think so.
That's
in
what
some
it is
ways,
for me most days.
Yeah, it's not like just like cheese. Like, well,
Right, yeah.
I don't eat a lot of cheese, but when I want to, I do. Like, if cheese gets in your relationship with God, give it up. That's like. But if there are certain things or attitudes, like, Pope Francis, I think a number of years ago was talking. He's like, why don't you give up gossip? Why don't you give up just like mindless chat? Like, different things like that are more, this is going to create within me a deeper sense of transformation, not just a sense of I'm strong and have a will and can exercise it.
I did that one year, gave up gossip, and it was very, very hard.
Do you want to talk about it?
Sure. No, but it was like if others were gossiping at the table, I found myself very easily getting sucked into their drama, right? And so I said, okay, I'm either going to do one or two things. I'm either going to get up and leave the table, which probably isn't productive, right? Because that's just removing you from the situation.
Sure.
And not really engaging with trying to change the culture in some way, right? And so a couple times I did just get up and leave, but then other times I just went, folks, please.
Yeah.
Come on. Let's not talk about
Yeah, let's
so-and-so.
find something else to chat about.
Let's think about something else. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's it. I mean, like, focusing on relationship, I think maybe that's in some ways like what is God doing? I think, well, that's what God's calling me to do. I think of even in my life, and you as well, Deacon Mike Hayes. We pray the breviary, we pray the Liturgy of the Hours.
Sure.
I'm on the go a lot, so like I'm praying it on my phone.
Yep,
but I also
same.
like, is my phone a place of prayer for me, or is it just like I can scroll through it? And I'm praying it, but like even the deliberate thing of like, for me, one of the things that I feel called to do is like actually using my breviary to pray the Liturgy of the Hours. Instead of just like scrolling through it, and that would be uncomfortable because that means I have to lug my breviary around with me as I go to the office at the seminary and meetings in Akron and just different places. But it's more of a deliberate thing that I'm choosing time to be in relationship with God instead of just like, oh, I have to pray daytime prayer. God, come to my assistance. What do you like? Okay, scroll
right.
through.
Yeah. And then you kind of going through the motions just to get it in, right? Yeah.
So that's relationship.
Yeah. For me too, I think so I pray morning and evening prayer, and then sometimes that is just going through the motions for me. But lately it has not been, and it's been okay. How do I pray for the church, and who do I need to pray this prayer for? Let me bring them to mind. Now let me take a deep breath and really think about them for a couple minutes, and now let me pray this prayer for them. So that kind of helps center me, whether I'm on my phone or in my breviary. Either way, I think that pause is kind of helpful.
The one thing I really like is the app that I use to pray breviary. So I think there's two of them. There's iBreviary, which a lot of people use. Yep. I use one called Divine Office.
That's what I use.
Okay. What I love about it is, typically, so the Liturgy of the Hours are the prayer of the church, for the church, by the church.
Sure.
And so the church is constantly being prayed for. But most of the time, like, I'm praying it on my own, in between things.
Right.
But there's a great little thing that, like, when you open the app, I don't know if you ever look in Prayer Now.
Yes,
they have like the little lights. It's like
globe.
750 people are praying this right now. And so, like, I really deliberately, I'm like, I'm uniting myself to these people.
Yeah.
Maybe just deliberately, I'm praying with and for them too. I think it's. I don't think oftentimes God asks us to make the big leap. Like, what are you giving up for Lent? These crazy things.
Yeah.
Just like, what are the little things that maybe I can change as far as mindset or whatever.
Yeah. And like even our sinfulness, right? So like for me, there are days where I will get up late, and because I'm out of my usual rhythm, I'll think later, morning prayer. It's 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, and I will take that little app out and I'll look at the little globe and say, well, it's morning somewhere.
Sure. Yeah.
And now I'll pray with those people for their morning, because I missed my morning.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of go on from there. So it's, so sometimes even our sinfulness can bring to mind other things that gets us back on track.
Sure.
Right.
But I think like the interpretive key or interpretive word for Lent is the interpretive word for all of Christianity, which is relationship.
Yeah.
Like, this is a time to be devoted more deeply to the Lord and to be present to others through the elimination of some things that sometimes we prevent us from being present. I know a lot of people do social media fasts, and like, what is that? I mean, like, it's so easy to pull out our phone and while we're with someone, like checking our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Xanga blog, that's a throwaway from like 2003. But like, what can I do? What is the Lord calling me to do to be more present to Him and to other people?
Right.
And that's where the almsgiving comes too. I mean, sometimes
yes, that's right.
the alms that we're giving is our attention and our time, and the one thing that we don't have to give.
Yeah. One of the more creative Lents I had was when I was still in Buffalo, and I was the director of campus at Canisius, and I decided that I really wasn't getting to know people on a deeper level, and that I had very sort of superficial relationships with students, with colleagues, with other things. So I said, all right, so for Lent, I'd like to try to develop these relationships a little bit, and so I started to learn a little bit more about people by asking questions, having deeper conversations with them. But then I said, for every day of Lent, I'm going to give something away. Something that either gets in the way of that relationship with people, or something that's very dear to me that I hold on a little too tightly.
Yeah.
That now I have to give away because I think this person needs it more than I do, or this person will just enjoy it more than I will. So that might have been a book, it might have been a toy, it might have been a piece of jewelry. There was a whole bunch of things. If there were an alumnus of the university I went to, I would give them something from the university that I would have. And so I did for 40 days. Let me tell you, day 33, I'm like, what the heck am I going to give away today, right?
What more can I give?
That's a good question. What more could I give?
Yeah, here's my half-drink cup of coffee. This is for you.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
But it couldn't be, let me just declutter my closet and give these things to you. Right, and that's the whole thing, even with like, those are our, I think a lot of times to check our motives, right? So like, well, I'm going to give up, something like food-wise. I'm going to do it because it's Lent, but also I'm going to do it because it would be nice to lose somewhere between 5 or 7 pounds. Sure, yeah.
Right, so like, that might be a good thing, but like, is the motivation the loss of weight, or is the motivation a deeper relationship with the Lord, journeying with Him through the desert as He mounts His cross, gives of Himself, and ultimately life comes from the cross? So. Right. I don't know.
Yeah. This year, I was inspired by Carrie Weber, who's from America Media. She wrote a book, it's a while ago now, called Mercy in the City. I don't know if you've read it, but
no.
It's a short book. It's a really easy read, about 120 pages or so. And she decided she was going to do all of the corporal works of mercy for Lent. So I've started to put this plan in motion. So this Saturday, I'm going to go to a women's shelter and serve a meal with my wife. And, I talk a good game about that stuff some days, but I get really busy. And do I do that as much as I should? No, I shouldn't. So let me see if I can make that a regular practice now. And so let me do it once, and then let's see how much more I can do as Lent ends. I haven't figured out give drink to the thirsty yet. I wrote down something clean water.
Yeah.
You
got theology on taps. Maybe buy a round for
Eric.
No.
But I contacted Father Dave Demansky the other day and said, hey, visit the imprisoned. I don't know how to do that right now. I'm sure there's 10,000 hoops that I have to jump through just to be able to do that, but I know you do it. Mm-hmm. So could you help me do this for Lent? And he wrote back to me last night and said, you're not going to believe this, but you have excellent timing. He said, we're looking for someone to actually do this with us.
That's great.
Yeah. So call me this afternoon. We'll figure it out. So I was like, okay. And I said, and that's something that I've never done. I've admired people who've done it. And so I said, let me see if this is a ministry that maybe I might want to get involved in. But it's also, as the director of young adult ministry, 95% of those people are young adults.
Sure.
And so we should care for them.
Yeah. But I think what's good about that, though, like all of it, it's not just I'm doing this because I think that this is like, it sounds like you're heeding the call of the Lord to do these things. Like, I think that's all of it. Like, and it's not to be overly critical or overly discerning, but like what to be attentive to the ways that God is working within our lives that call out to us and reach out to us to say, let's examine this. Let's do something different. Us meaning me and you, not just you doing this to try to earn my love, or you doing this to try to, prove your power.
Yeah. We're not buying our way to heaven.
Without me, you can do nothing. And so unifying yourself to the Lord, all right, Lord, I'm going to do this with you, and you're going to do this with me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You're going to go and visit the imprisoned with me and help me hear what I need to hear, and help me say what I need to say, and help me be. Yeah, help me be with folks in places where I would rather not go.
Sure. One of the things I always, I as a kid, it frustrated me, but looking back at it now, I really admired it. I know that my mom won't listen to this, so that I'll talk about it. But for Lent, it becomes almost like a badge of honor. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah. It's kind of like the talk. I remember my mom, I never knew what she would be doing for Lent, because she's like, that's just between, God and I, and I know she did something, but I think about that because and it's always the hard thing on Ash Wednesday, when you fast, wash your face, and here we are, we're ashes on our head. But I just thought that looking back on that, obviously there's something that she was praying about and heeding the call of the Lord. And it's I'm not doing this for show. I'm doing this to hopefully deepen my relationship with the Lord, and maybe even with me. Looking back, I don't totally remember everything different, but maybe she was being more present to us, or just something, that it's not about what I'm doing, but very clearly what God is doing within me or calling me to do.
Yeah. I have a friend who every year for Lent, he asks his friends what he should give up. What's something that you see in me that needs to go away so that I can strengthen my relationship with God? And so he usually asks them to give up a certain food, a certain practice, and then something to pray for. Who do you think that I don't? Who do you think I don't pray for? And then I'll tell you if I pray for them already or not.
Sure.
But is there something, some cause, or some person that I can pray for a little bit more? I thought that was a good way to do it.
Yeah, there's all different things, and that's the beauty of it. You see how diverse all of these practices are, and I think part of it is to stand before it and I do believe people are doing it because God is engaging them and asking them to do this.
Yeah.
And that's where I don't feel particularly called this year to give up anything food wise. I feel called to give up some attitudes or practices, much more. Whereas I think for some people, the food fast, that's a strain, and you feel called to do it. So that's the beauty of it. It's not basically one size does not fit all.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously prayer, fasting, and almsgiving, it fits all, but how that's done is very particular, and I think very beautiful, because it's expressive of the relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thought of even logging, how do I spend my time, right? For maybe the first half of Lent, say, okay, what am I really doing? And I've already started to do that, and then I'm able to dispense with some of that and say, okay, I could use this time better, so I can go exercise during this time and pray for people while I do that.
The goal is transformation.
Yeah, that's right. How can I transform myself a little bit differently so that and not so that I can look better, right? But that I can be better.
Right. That I can be who the Lord calls me to be.
I can be who God calls me to be. That's right. Yeah, perfect. All right. So
what are you doing for Lent?
Yeah, exactly. What does God want you to do for Lent?
Yeah, what is God calling you to do?
Yeah, but I think those, and be gentle with yourself is what I tell people all the time. If you mess it up, fine. Start over. It's okay. You only have tomorrow.
Right.
You only have today, I should say, not tomorrow. But it'll be okay. Just keep going. Just go back to start.
It's all about the journey.
Absolutely. All right. Let's take a look at our sponsor.
Yes.
First time for you with the sponsor, I think.
Yeah. Do I have to change my inflection?
No, that would be bad.
Yeah.
But do you even know what Briefcase Marketing does? Do you know these folks?
I do based on this, but not who they are. But I see that they've got great Google reviews, and they've done superb work with Theology of the Body Cleveland and John Canchis. But what are they doing?
Yeah, so they basically will make sure that your church doesn't have scattered messaging, a bad website. They kind of all those kind of marketing efforts that you want to do. They know how to do those to help create not only people who are visiting your website or people who are looking at your social media, but they're going to turn those folks into more engaged people. So they become
would
your
you say that
advocates.
with a clear message and compelling website, Briefcase Marketing will help you get more donors giving to your mission, more volunteers ready to serve, more people sharing your message and being advocates for you?
That's exactly what they'll do, Father Eric. They'll clarify your message to attract the right audience.
Yeah,
That's
but where
the
would you
main
find them? Would their link be in the show notes, or could you text them at 308-627-1262?
Yes, and that's our pal Dan First, who runs Briefcase Marketing. He will get back to you if you text him at that number. But it's also at briefcase.marketing, and we'll put that in the show notes. And what I really, really love about them, not only do they help you create beautiful websites, but they literally make people into your advocates. Like people can look at that. If you have a crappy website, no one trusts you.
Right.
How
it's presented is just as good as what is presented.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because people are making their opinions about you on their first visit to your website.
Sure.
So make sure your website's snappy, and Dan will help you do that.
That's right.
Briefcase.marketing. Put it in the show notes.
That's right. That's great. Wow. I feel so official.
All right. So Church Search. Is there a good fish fry somewhere we haven't talked about in a while?
Saint Adalbert in Berea.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's one of the. I think it is the oldest Polish Catholic church of Polish nationality.
Very nice. Yeah.
In the Diocese of Cleveland. I think so I was there as a transitional deacon, and I think it's a particular parish that, while most parishes have territory, that church, a personal parish, is there to serve the needs of the Polish immigrants. So a lot of Polish immigrants came to Berea to work in the sandstone, limestone, all that kind of stuff. But they also have a pretty awesome fish fry on Fridays. They've got the pierogies and cabbage and noodles and all the beige foods that your heart and mind can desire. But I was also just there on Sunday because in addition to having the parish where Father Chuck Bukowski is assigned as pastor, Father Michael Brunowski, Benedictine, is there helping, as well as Deacon Edgardius is assigned there. They have the BW Newman. And so they're there at 6 p.m. for the Newman Mass. Check out the fish fry. Check out Mass at St. Adalbert. Beautiful. St. Adalbert, just on the campus, just across the campus of Baldwin Wallace University.
There are two St. Adalberts in the diocese.
There are. This is in Berea.
This is the one in Berea, so you don't go to the wrong place. I have made that mistake before.
Yeah.
Well, I made that mistake before because someone called and told me about something that had happened at that St. Berea. And I said, oh, you should go and talk to Father Gary about that.
And they're like, what?
And they're like, Father Gary. And I'm like, yeah, he's the pastor at St. Adalbert. And they're like, no.
No.
And I'm like, oh, you mean
there's
St. Adalbert
two.
in
There's
Berea?
two St. Adalberts.
Yes. Oh, I met the one in Cleveland. Sorry.
That's right. You get to pass the Browns facility on the way there.
That's right. Yeah.
I usually bless it.
Might want to do that more than once.
Yeah. Maybe we'll start parading around it with trumpets so that the walls come tumbling down.
Oh man, no one is a bigger Browns fan than Father Eric Harris.
No, there's others, but it's draft season, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, usually that's a season of hope.
That's right.
But it's Lent also, as a Browns fan.
Yeah.
An eternal Lent.
Where they're giving up Myles Garrett for Lent.
I don't want to talk about that.
I don't want to talk about that either. But
what about the readings? Do you want to talk about those?
Sure. I will be preaching at Sagrada Familia this week, as they asked me to come in and fill in, preaching at the 10 o'clock Mass.
Okay.
And then actually I'll be going to the Rite of Election at Public Auditorium, which is apparently fantastic. I have not been at Public Auditorium for this.
We've not had it there in a while.
Yeah,
we had the revival and different stuff there.
Yes, we did the revival.
And now the Cleveland Charge are also playing at the Public Auditorium.
Oh, no kidding.
Which is the G League.
The G League, yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. So.
Yeah, I'll have to go check that out. I haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
That'll be cool. All right, so I will be preaching. The gospel is from Luke, as it has been for a while now, where Jesus is tempted by the devil in the desert. So during those 40 days, just like us. That's one of the things I think I'm taking away from that reading is that the things that we are tempted by, money, food, power, whatever it might be, those are things that Jesus is tempted by the devil. And while we have a hard time getting rid of those things and saying yes to those temptations, Jesus is not.
Sure.
Jesus is one who's able to push this away, to be the model for us, so that we can be in solidarity with him in some ways.
Yeah, and I often think like the scene prior to the desert in all the Gospels is the baptism, where he hears the Father's voice saying, "You are my beloved in whom I am well pleased." And I think part of sin is, and we renew our baptismal promises in Easter, but we reject the empty promises of sin. And I think he's like, actually, I don't want or need any of those things. I know that I'm loved by the Father, and this is who I am. And actually, these things aren't going to shake me because I know who I am, and these things, I don't want these. The only thing I want is the Father's love. And if this is what's going to draw me back, then no way, Jose.
Yeah. Your love and your grace are more than enough for me.
That's right. That's right. And by Jose, I mean Satan, who's tempting him. No way, Satan. Yeah.
If your name is Jose,
yeah, you're
Father
not,
Eric is not saying that you're Satan.
No,
just to be clear.
No.
Don't send your cards and letters.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's very good. And are you preaching this week somewhere?
I am, yeah. I have, so on Sunday I have to leave. I'm in that doctoral program out in St. Louis,
right.
so I have a week of class next week. So I do have a Saturday vigil at my home parish, Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Wycliffe. I have a baptism after Mass for a family friend, and going to be back at my home. Hopefully a prophet is with honor in his native place and not without honor in his native place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we've done it. Usually I come on here, and I think it's Father Damien being in his presence, my beloved neighbor. We usually get kind of off topic and wily, and I think we haven't done that today. So that's what I'm trying to do right now at the end.
So what are you trying to say?
I think I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just trying to say, I think I did a good job of staying on topic for the first time in my life and actually talking about what we needed to, instead of just being like something.
Yeah, right. We go all over the place.
The ever distracted brain that is held within my cranial cavity.
Didn't you say at the Ignite conference that if you were the patron saint of something, you'd be the patron saint of ADHD?
Probably, yeah, probably. Yeah, it's like
I'd probably not be too far behind you.
Right?
Bright shiny object.
That's right. And I do think that the coffee, the empty cup over there, is it's showing itself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you probably try the decaf.
I will. That was my first cup today. Yeah,
exactly.
Although have you ever had a Celsius? This is going to get us off topic.
I have had Celsius.
Man, those things. Yes. You drink one of those and you start smelling colors you've never even heard of before. It's like, woo! That's like.
Do you have a favorite brand of Celsius?
Just the Celsius.
Just the Celsius?
Yeah.
Like just in general, you mean? Or?
Yeah. Well, aren't there other? Because it's not really like an energy. Wait. Are you saying, do I have a favorite energy drink?
No, do you have a favorite brand, favorite flavor?
Flavor.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, just all of them are fine.
Doesn't
matter.
Yeah. Jen Martin, this is what I wanted to do. We're getting off topic. You're just going to cut all of this. If you're listening still, God love you. But Jen Martin, who's the youth specialist, she introduced me to Celsius. And the first time I had it, I didn't know that it had caffeine. But then I found out.
Huh.
Based on the colors that I was
You'll learn something new
hearing.
Every day. I didn't know it had caffeine. I didn't know it had caffeine either.
You didn't?
No.
200 milligrams of caffeine.
Wow, that's a
Woo!
lot. I mean, it does.
Maybe,
up.
Yeah. So maybe what should I give up for Lent?
No calories, though.
Right.
Or five calories.
Live fit. Yeah. So maybe I have to give up Celsius for Lent. Maybe that's it. I don't have them very often.
Yeah, I don't have it very often either, but I do enjoy it. The blueberry one I kind of like, in particular.
All right.
Over all the other ones.
Celsius, if you'd like to sponsor us, we would give just as great of an ad read as we did for our dear friends over at Briefcase Marketing.
Yeah, that's right. You can send a case.
This is just pure banter. All right.
Here we
Happy
go.
Lent, everyone.
Happy Lent. Enjoy Mardi Gras. Enjoy Ash Wednesday. Remember that you are dust.
Be transformed.
Be transformed this Lent. We'll have this and a whole lot more next time here on Question of Faith.
Play us out.